Sam Loyd's Archery puzzle. When we talk about famous puzzle makers in history, two names tend to come to the top of the list. One is Henry Dewdney. We did a puzzle of his earlier. The other is Sam Loyd, who is famous for all sorts of incredibly clever puzzles, including the one on the right, which we'll maybe get to a little bit later. For now, though, let's take a look at Sam Loyd's Archery puzzle. It says, how close can the young archer come to scoring a total of 100 using as many arrows as she pleases? So, in case you have trouble reading it, the numbers there are 16, 17, 23, 24, 39, and 40. And what we're looking for is any combination of those. You can use one more than once that will add up to as close to 100 as possible. In fact, we'd really like it to actually add up to exactly 100. To get a handle on the problem, for starters, let's just see what happens when we add up all of the numbers. Okay, when you add 16, 17, 23, 24, 39, 40, I believe you get 159. Let's check that out for a second there. Yep, that looks good. You might want to check my math here yourself. So, out of these 6 numbers, let's see how we can combine them. And for starters, and this is something we do a lot, just in general, when we have a puzzle, sometimes it's a good idea just to play around, just to try a few combinations. So, for example, let's see what happens when we add 16, 17, 23, 39. We get 95. Well, that's pretty close. We wanted 100. We got 95. Let's see what happens when we add 24, 24, 24, and 24. Remember, I said we could use the same number more than once. Well, now we get 96. That's even a little bit better. How about 16, 17, 24, 30? That's 97. Well, that looks pretty close. We're just 3 away. But can we get it exactly to 100? Let's step back a little bit. We could do trial and error, try all the different combinations, but that's a lot of combinations. I mean, there's a whole bunch of numbers we can add up a whole bunch of different ways. So let's try to figure out a way to start that will keep things fairly simple, manageable. Like, for instance, let's try starting with a small number. Well, the smallest number we have is 16. So what would happen if we just had 16? How close could we get to 100 just with 16? Just with adding 16 again, or the same thing as multiplying 16? Well, we can do this 6 times. 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16, or 6 times 16, is 96. You can check my math on that, but I'm pretty sure we've got that one right. Okay, let's take a look at that. 96. That's pretty close. Now, we could try some different combinations, but let's think about approaching this problem in a more methodical way, a more logical way. For instance, 17 is 1 more than 16. So, every time you trade a 17 for a 16, you come out 1 ahead, right? So, if I was adding 16 plus 16, that's 32. 16 plus 17 is 33. So, I got 1 ahead. So, if I substituted one of those 16s if I substituted a 17 for one of those 16s, instead of 96, I'd have 97. But I can do better than that. 96 is 4 less than what we want. We want 100, so we're 4 short. So if I take 4 of those 16s and replace those 4 with 17, I should get 100. And I do. You could check the math here, but 16 plus 16 plus 17 plus 17 plus 17 plus 17 is 100. Okay, that's exactly what we're shooting for. Now, as we always try to do in these videos, let's step back and try to think about what we did and how we approached this problem, and maybe generalize this. Think of some things we can do, or some ways we can apply what we just learned to other problems. So, first, we tried a few guesses just to get a feel for the problem. Second, we picked the smallest units we could find to use as a starting point. In other words, we picked a number that would be easy to work with. If you have a choice and you don't really have any particular reason to go with one or the other, pick the simplest one to work with. That's always a good rule. Then 3, we looked for a way to build on that foundation, which turned out to be fairly simple. As always, you can go by the teaching blog and see lots more of this stuff, or you can check the playlist and see more videos in this series.